I put an email in, yeah, about.
Oh,
Yeah.
right, just put an email in.
Right, sorry, what's your name, now, please? Sorry, what's your name?
Bob Proud.
Sorry, I haven't been given it, but if you'd like the, who did you send it to again? Because I haven't received it, unfortunately, but if you talk through your,
You want to talk through
question.
it, I'll take it.
Copy of it, yeah, if you want.
Yeah, no, I'll take it if you want to,
if you want to read it out, or if you want to
I was
summarise
gonna
it.
say if you want,
I'll read it out myself. so.
yeah. Just about your complaint, really, what it's about.
It's not complete, really, well, it is a complete. You say I'm getting the mindset. It's from myself personally, not from the Allotment Association, although they knew I was gonna do this.
Yeah,
It's about the boundary fence. And it's to Blythetown Council.
can I ask you what allotment this is concerning?
Sorry?
Can I ask you which allotments it's concerning?
Yeah, I will.
Yeah,
It's on here, it's in the email, I'll read you the email.
right, okay,
The boundary fence and access gate for the allotments at 23rd Avenue are still awaiting replacement from storm damage. Could we please have an update as to when the work will be carried out? Okay,
yep, that's great, right.
Sorry, just for my
Thank you.
purpose, could you just tell the committee what actually the work is that you're describing? Because I say I haven't
fence
seen
was
it.
blown down, this is the second time. The first time it blew down in Storm Alwyn, and it's the boundary fence from the playing field into the allotments, which incorporates an access gate and a big, vehicle access as well, which
Right,
gets used occasionally.
can we get that stuff?
So when after Storm Alwyn, part of the fence blew down, they took a while to get it sorted. What we did, we came down, or the council sent somebody down, and they basically just pushed the fence back up and stuck 3 posts in, right? Which the temporary repair, we were told,
Right,
and there was still a hole in the fence. That was on, as you look at the fence, that was on the left side.
right,
On the storm that followed that, I don't know, we had that many according to the weather people, I've forgotten which one. But the one on the right, which was nearer the old railway track,
yeah,
that blew down in that storm. And some of the lads, well, one guy basically went up there and he propped it up, but it wrecked the little access gate that we had, you know? So now, we're having to use the big gate to get in and out to the allotments.
right,
But the fence is falling down, and when it was down, before we pushed it up temporarily, people started dumping rubbish into the allotment. And basically, that's what we want to know. There's only about 3 of us there, there's more than that have allotments, but there's only
Yeah.
about 3 who actually go.
Mhm.
And that's what I want to know, when the fence is gonna
Right.
get fixed.
Can I, do you want to start?
Now we've got into the detail, and I hadn't realised initially it was that one. But Stephen Danielson and Bob Tate
Yeah.
Yeah,
came in
Yeah.
about 10
All
days
that
ago on a number of issues. And when they said about that, the allotments officer had already, as you say, we had the fence repaired, but we hadn't realised the extent that the future damage had been done. So what we told Stephen and Bob was that we would go out and get quotes and get the fence repaired back to what it should be as soon as we could. So that's already in hand. The lad's on holiday at the moment, but I do know that we're getting quotes to get the work done.
Well, I mean, that, he told me that nearly 6 months ago. I know kind of things go
right, what
slowly
we'll do,
sometimes.
we'll move it up, we'll make it urgent. We'll make it urgent, but it gets fixed,
Yeah,
okay?
like I say, I mean, the
So-
place is shambles now, like, you know, it really is
Yeah,
disgusting.
yeah,
I mean, it's. I mean, it's not to do with this, but we just don't seem to be getting people into the allotments. We hear one story that there's people on a waiting list. And then the next thing, nobody's in the allotment, so when they come, they don't want to touch them because they're getting in such a state. But what our problem is, or problem was, who temporarily repaired, was people were just dumping stuff in the gardens.
I think what we need, what it is, people want certain allotments, like on certain sites.
Sorry,
People want allotments on certain sites, on different sites.
well, I
mean, we'll
everybody
have-
wants the one on the back door.
We have got a waiting list, but we will have a look at it as soon as possible. And I can tell you that from me, we'll go, it'll be one day next week, can we go? Yeah,
All I ask for is what you've said tonight, can you put something in writing? Send it to me if you want, or send it to Stevie Danielson
mhm.
as the secretary.
He's on holiday, isn't
Stevie
he?
knows I was sending this, you know, he knew I was doing this.
Yeah, but I'm saying he's on holiday. Stephen's on holiday, I don't know when he's due back.
Steve just went away as far as I know, because I've just come back yesterday,
Mhm.
and I think he's just gone again.
Yes, he does.
Yeah,
You know, Stevie. But I
Right.
mean, I've been in contact with him plenty, you know, from Bob here, because I do know, off what they told me, you had a difference of opinion about the approval of the fence. So Bob Tate proved that it was the council's responsibility, because he's got it in the minutes from meetings in 1991. So the fence is 30-year-old plus
mhm.
at least. I appreciate the things, you know, I did, you know, just sticking a post in, it doesn't always solve the problem. It just delays the thing, and
Mhm.
that's what we're after.
Right, can you send him an email of what's gonna happen? And, we can arrange a visit up there one day next week. Will that be all right with you?
See
We'll
that?
get the officer to send you an email, letting you know what's happening.
Who, David Clough,
No, he's
No.
not here,
He's on
he's on holiday. That'll
Cheers.
be Jay,
right?
okay?
What's your name, please? Bob Proud.
Have you got your email address on there?
Yeah, that's on here. No, that one, it's just a copy of what I actually sent it. So,
Yeah. Or if you just give it to Jay.
Did I say, Mr. Proud,
Thank you.
well, the meeting with Stephen and Bob, I mean, I had it with them. And there was a few things they raised. They did raise a fence on one of the allotment sites. And, Dave's actually in the process of getting quotes now to get that repaired. But Jay will go and he'll meet you next week and just hopefully you might have the quotes in a bit more detail when we can get it done for you.
So, will you correspond with me with that? Or-
Yeah. That's what he's gonna do. He's got your email address now,
Yeah,
so he'll correspond with you.
right, okay, I mean, Stevie Daniels knows I was coming here, I knew he was putting that in, I told him 2 or 3 months ago, I was gonna do it, but
Yeah.
kind of things to happen. I know in the real world, everything doesn't happen. As long as you've got movement on, because we do feel this is on a personal sort of thing, those allotments up there, people don't even know they exist. In fact, if you go on your map, you've really got to search before 23rd Avenue allotments shows up on your
Yeah.
map, you know? But,
Mhm.
a lot of people do when you see where your allotments are, and just feel forgotten. Okay,
I'll bring in councillor Watson.
Apologies, because that's my ward, so I didn't know you had any of these issues. I'm councillor Anna Watson for the Isabella ward, so I would like to go with Jay when you have your meeting. I'll try
Well,
and
that's-
organise that to come
well,
with Mr.
I'm
Proud.
saying, that was one question I asked Stevie and that, you know, who's the, councillor for this, for our area, the
And
thing.
this is the first time I'm hearing of it, Mr. Proud, so
Sorry.
yeah,
No
I will,
problem.
I will also.
Oh, yeah.
You've got,
Just feel neglected, and forgotten,
yeah,
and every time I go down and say, what's happening? Oh, well, it's in hand, or this is happening, or nothing, and I keep saying, well, nothing's happening. You know, you're telling me that this is happening now. So I was told months ago you're going to get quotes. I said, well, how long does it take to get a couple of quotes?
well, if you, just bear with me, we will have a visit up there one day next week, but you'll get to know when we're coming. And your other councillor for the ward is John Potts, you know John.
I know.
Aye, so, okay, so we'll leave it with that, and we'll definitely make a
Sorry.
visit next week.
Yeah, okay,
Jay will send you an email to let you know what's happening. Is that all right?
that's fine. As long
Brilliant.
as I got something in writing.
Yeah, you'll get it in writing. Thank you.
Right, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, no more, no more, so.
It's tonight.
No, I haven't been,
It's in the poll.
I don't think we've got any more yet.
It's in the
I
poll.
was turning back.
So, so who again, any of these centres? Huh? Right, okay. Right, we've got enough to disclosures of interest and grants of dispensation. Anybody got any? No?
I'm a guest here this evening, just being here for the minutes of the partnership board.
Right, no, Brian. Number 3 is the minutes of the previous environment committee, the minutes of the previous committee meeting were agreed in full council, so it's just to note the minutes. Actions arising from the previous minutes, well, there's none unless anybody has got any off the minutes. No? Okay, we'll go straight on to this decision report 1, which is the environmental budget monitoring report, just to note that, unless of course John's got anything to say.
The biggies,
I knew that.
9003, the income from allotment rents. Can we show how much that is where people just paid for this year, and how much people have paid for the 18? You know what I mean? For the people who paid for 18 months and got a cheaper rate for it.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm gonna step right there now. You're gonna need to do that for accruals at the end of the year anyway, aren't you?
no, we'll not need to do that, John.
Not next year's rent.
No, they're going in accounting terms, we won't have to put in the next year money we've received 6 months this year because it's a 12-month rental period. That's the regulations at the moment, so we're not here to do that.
And the income from the underspend on the partnership, have we had anything back from that yet? No.
No, I mean, Peter might know further, but Peter was going to contact, Peter's from NCC, if people don't. No,
Sorry, Peter, I should have introduced you. I'll just assume everybody knows.
Peter was going to raise that query with the finance people, and I don't know if there's been any update on
I
that.
should be able to run back, we should be getting something back on, hopefully Friday, I have a meeting with them tomorrow, so I might be able to update you as soon as I find out about the underspend from last year.
And then the last one is the play area renewal, the skate park. Will we be getting the section 106 money now, or we're gonna have to wait till it's built and?
No, what we've got to do is, once the construction's been carried out for the skate park, it will get signed off officially, and we'll be able to claim that element of it back, the 60,000. But you can only do it after you've actually the things in place.
It'll probably be before Christmas though.
Well, it depends. I mean, we're hoping that the skate park's going to be finished end of November-ish.
Yeah.
And it just depends on how quickly the county council react to paying that money, Joe.
Just have been hanging on to it for quite a while now for them, but.
We're on 2 elements, and I'm going to come into the lighting scheme in any other business if I can. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Decision 2, it's about the allotment lanes, which has gone out for quotes. You want us to give a bit of feedback on that one?
You may recall that this committee at budget time last year agreed to do a much more comprehensive fix on the lanes at the Bowling site. On the proviso that there was less traffic use the lanes, so actually destroying the lanes over the years. What happened after that, the association came back and said that they wanted to use the lanes as they did previously to allow, the cars and vans on. And we then agreed that when we repaired the lanes, it would just be pothole by pothole, ridge by ridge. Now that the water system's been replaced, we're now in a position to do the lanes. We're being out for quotations. We've received the quotations as per the report. And we are suggesting that the committee agrees to contract A They were all given the same spec, contractor B's given the same responses to how they're gonna do the work, so they're gonna do exactly the same job, so we're recommending contractor A for this work.
So is everybody in agreement to go with contractor A? Yes,
Yeah, I
yes,
don't have a problem with that. If you need somebody to move it, then move it. But I just was wondering, you answered one of my questions straight away, which was, are they quoting for the same thing? And he's telling me they are. And I was just wondering if you had any thought of why there's such a massive disparity, because usually these things are, all within a bandwidth. Is it just because the contractor B doesn't want to work or what,
It could well be, Jeff, I mean, it's something that, we have not know. There are a contractor B, we have used them before, and they're a good local contractor. But if you're going for, is the committee going for contractor A?
That's what I've moved, I thought I heard somebody.
is that agreed that you want to go for a contractor A?
Yeah.
Okay, is that
Well, if that's agreed to,
unanimous?
I can't tell you now, we'll be contacting the county council tomorrow, because the county council are the ones who've actually put in the price for contractor A.
Right.
So, it's kind of public against private.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay. Still.
all right. Okay, we'll move on. It's the decision report on Birdsmouth fencing. Now, there's a request coming from the councillor, wanting to put, there's wanting a fencing around the bottom to stop the cars coming on, but also want an extension as a fencing. Yes, Brian?
Yeah, I was just waiting for you to finish. It was myself that put
I
the
know.
request in. We, Malcolm, I said you've quite a few cars now that have been parked on there, from ones I've seen, obviously from when I've been in, can't be there 24/7. But, cars shouldn't be parking on there, which I think, me and the other councillor, Cooper, Councillor Barris, we both agree that it's probably should be best practice, just to keep it safe, and the children, because it'll take one car that goes on there, comes round the wrong way and not seeing it, and somebody gets swamped. But it's becoming more and more common. That's why we did have a quick chat after the last meeting.
Aileen?
Yeah, I agree that at the time that the fencing would be a good idea for safeguarding the children and young people and adults who use the field. After visiting today, the actual fencing for the play park area itself is quite close to the bottom corner.
Mm-hmm. I
So
noticed it is, yeah,
it's
close up
really
to
near to the footpath.
Yeah.
So I can't see us needing to fence all the way along the bottom and all the way up the top. I think we could fence down to the play park fence and then fence from the play park fence to the opposite fence, which will reduce the cost. Because they wouldn't be able to get past the play park fence with it being so close to the footpaths in the corner. Because it's further down than I thought it was gonna be. The one issue I would come up with would be access for grass cutting and ambulance. Because we need to get emergency services out of our field, so we'll need to sort of have a gate where they can get in and have access for emergencies and for the grass cutters to still get on. The reason I would suggest not to put the big long fences all the way around the full field is you're going to have a green belt that you'll not be able to cut. You have grass that will just overgrow in two areas. You'd have to get a very small person in with a strimmer to cut between the two fencing.
Right, right.
Sorry, but I disagree with that one, because it is about a metre between that. We seem to be able to do it quite well, with the team that does it, get out and get the strimmer. They do strim against the wall quite often, and up the top. I think we need to put it on there, because people being people, they will probably park on the path and get in as close as I can to that fence line. I think it is necessary we do fence off the whole green area.
The way in the bottom part,
I live across the
in the corner, the fence is nearly on the footpath.
It's not, I'm literally, I live across the road from
Yeah,
it.
we've been to visit
That's
today,
fine, but it's
and
not.
put a fence there, you're gonna have that much to put a green. I
I
can't
just-
see it all.
I just didn't realise how close it was to the
Yeah.
road, and I've got Daniel and Ed Brandt.
Chair,
Daniel,
can I ask the three ward councillors what the opinions of the residents were who live outside? Yeah,
sorry,
can I ask the three councillors for the ward what the opinions were of the residents who live outside the proposed area, what their thoughts were on it? I mean, who wants to go first, it's up to yourselves,
What, on the fence line?
whether or not we wanted it or not.
No, they want the fence line. The residents who I speak to, because they're my neighbours and I live across the road from the park, all want the fence line because they are sick of the cars getting parked on there. Some of them, you know, sometimes they're not on the grass, but they're on the path with the wheels on the grass. This fence line would stop them from enabling them doing that. What every single person, I speak to parents who, you know,
right, what
whose
I'm,
children are there, who when that my children are there, but it's just.
right. Can I have an officer? Would you be able to speak to residents around there just to get it, before we do anything, because I don't want to be wasting my time and I don't want any backlash off other ones. I've got Grant first, then Anna. Grant,
Yeah, Chair, just a thought, this is, there's no buildings here in that talk, was talking about, it's both from the fence at the side of the park, and I'm not objecting that all to the fence line that sits on this floor. But on the front fence line on Briley Road, why should we not make an application for double yellow lines running just along the side of the edge of the park? It's only because nobody lives on it and nobody should be parking on it, and the only person that should legally be able to stop there would be the man who collects the post in the morning, because there's a post box there. And I'm sure we'll get that one on child safety from the county council. That would be, you know, over the police to precedent.
right, yeah, Anna?
Peter's obviously here, I was just wondering what his thoughts were if there was a bird mouth fence, I think I want to call it a bird's nest fence, on that bit, because we were there today,
Yeah, sorry.
in terms of grass cutting and trimming and how easy it would be.
Yeah, I think we'd have to look at the exact distances again. I think when we looked today, it did look a little closer than what we first anticipated. And again, it is about trying to get machines in there. It's about cutting the grass as well. Is it going to be a time and cost effective way of cutting the grass if we have to do it instead of deploying a ride-on grass cutter? Does it then have to be someone with a smaller machine with a strimmer? Versatile fencing normally brings its issues in terms of strimming underneath obstacles and weed spraying along with it as well.
Right.
Just to touch on Grant's suggestion there, the double yellow lines, has anybody considered bollards on the pavement?
I brought that up before.
Consider what?
Bollards for the pavement, so at the Bradley Road side of things where we're saying that we maybe didn't need to put birds on fencing, would bollards be an option to go there?
I think that would be cheaper up there, I think.
And I'm not saying it necessarily might not work going up the side of Maxwell Drive, but certainly for Bradley Road. I'm just wondering as well what the issue was, whether it's actually parking on the grass or is it cars travelling across the grass, because there's two very different things there.
It's both.
They're both.
It is, you know, I've seen them with the hill that was there. I'm not gonna name the person, but he was in a Ford Fiesta and took a jump over it. Luckily, I shouted at my oldest son to stop. Otherwise, I would have lost my son. But it's both. There's a Range Rover. Many times he's went across the field, done donuts, and went up to somebody's bungalow to visit. And you know, there was competition which the town clerk and several councillors know that I had after they decided just to drive across it and park up, have a chat and hand something over to somebody. It's a play park, it's not a car park, so in the best interest of the local population, I think we need to implement something that's gonna keep everybody safe.
I know we had a brief conversation this morning about obviously the birds mouth fencing being there as well, and for access for ambulance as well in case there is an accident on the play park for safe access, and also for the grass cutting equipment to get on there. I am aware of other areas who have birds mouth fencing, which actually has a section of the fencing which can be padlocked.
Yeah.
And removed as and when needs be. So obviously the emergency services would need access to that, potentially somebody who lives local. But NCC could have that, Blythe Town Council could have access to a key where you just, when it is time to cut the grass, unlock it, remove that panel, cut the grass, then put it back again. Rather than leaving an open section of the birds mouth fencing, which could then still encourage cars to go on, depending on the width.
And have you ever noticed the car wheels on the grass? Has there ever been?
I personally
I mean,
haven't, I'll be honest, I'm new to being in Blythe again from many years away, so I'm not aware of, I'm just.
I just say.
walking myself, so.
I might just say that I'm not against the fence, I think it's a good idea, it's just we need to think and put a little bit more thought in for ambulance and access. And that bit on the corner, that was,
It's near.
I thought the play park was a bit further up than where it actually was,
Grant,
where the fence was.
sorry, you've been waiting.
No,
Oh, Daniel, sorry.
I've already spoken, Chair. Quite happy.
I thought you did before.
Okay.
Unless you want,
Well,
unless you.
I think what we need to do is do a little bit of consultation with the residents to make sure that they do want something put there, if there is any problems, and plus, can we look at bollards instead of fencing?
Can I just clarify, is the consultation one, because of all, the committee's already agreed to put birds mouth fencing on Axwell Drive?
Yeah, that's
Right. But do you want the extra one put around this other side?
This
I'm
is-
saying just take it up to the play park fence instead of going all the way down, because then you'll be able to get the grass cut properly.
Hmm.
I mean, the whole issue of the conversation, the exercise today was around the issues of grass cutting and weeding and everything, which is gonna add more problem to that corner part.
Yeah.
And that's my concern.
So we've already done the consultation.
Yeah, I mean, you could on that bit, I mean, you're right, I mean, we had the new equipment going in, you need more space and there's more kit going in as well, so I've had to stretch it that way because previous consultation wanted to play park down the bottom where the old one was, which has caused other issues, which I'm gonna come into later on.
Yeah.
But you could, I think, Peter, put the birds mouth fencing more or less along the edge of the path line next to the grass, which would allow you space to get in. And we could look at quite easily, you know, putting this removable thing with the padlock.
Right.
NCC and ourselves would have a key.
Hmm.
What we'd then have to do though is get a post put in, similar to what we've got at the allotments, with the keypad number on, which means that if an emergency service does get called there, the call operator has got to immediately give them the access code to that key lock. So if an ambulance did have to go, it'd say, right, when you get there, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, you'll get a key to get in.
Right.
So we could,
Okay.
that's not the numbers, flying up there.
Oh,
Just in case, because this is live. But, so we could do that.
Good, good. Okay, then, is everybody agreed? Yes, Brian?
Sorry, just to clarify, are we going to consultation if?
No, it's been done apparently.
Right, and we're happy, and okay, and you are now gonna ask that we'll go ahead with it.
No, well,
Sorry, Brian?
Are we looking now to go ahead with it? Sorry. I got a bit lost in translation.
I'm just saying the consultation's taking place and I'm giving a solution as to what we can do to get an ambulance or other emergency service on. But I don't think the committee have decided after the chair's finished if they're gonna go ahead with this proposal. Yeah.
yes, Hannah?
So when it was agreed, did we know that the fence was so close to the
No,
path?
no,
So, like Peter's just said, not necessarily bollards, but you know, the fencing that's, what's it called? Slatted, you know, like actually on the roadside that you have outside of schools. Slatted metal fence out that you have outside of schools. What's it, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
But you not have that on the court, like, you know, along the play park that's actually on the path, so then they can't pull onto the path because that's on the edge. Because it's always up at the edge of the path, isn't it? That type of fence.
It's palisade fencing, the big 6 foot stuff, because
Yeah.
I'm
No,
starting
no,
to envision
Just
a
done
big
it for
6 feet.
like a
That's
guard,
just-
the
that's
guard
just like
ones.
the-
We've got one at Broadway. You had
Oh,
to go
yes.
down the bottom of Broadway to stop
Yeah.
people coming down the ramp and zooming right out into the road. Could that type of fencing not be
Just
put
for a
up?
little pop.
Because then it's not interfering with the grass cutting at all, but then it's stopping the cars pulling onto the path there.
But you've already got the fence line from the park, from every width, so you'd be double fencing as such.
But you're double fencing it anyway by putting the bird's
That would
mouth.
be a smaller obstacle.
My
But
thoughts
one that
was
might
just-
cause problems with grass cutting. So all I'm thinking is, rather than cause problems with grass cutting, if you had that right on the edge of the pathway, you wouldn't have that issue. I don't know. I just think that bit that goes round that corner needs looking at again, is the way.
There seems to be a couple of ideas floating around, sorry Chair to jump in, just, are we saying that we want to utilise the existing silver fencing which is put at the bottom of the park?
Yeah.
As opposed to Birdsmouth, then add the Birdsmouth to the side of
Yeah.
that. So you have basic Birdsmouth fencing, then the silver fencing of the park with the grass strip which we can easily maintain
Yeah.
from there. And then there's a
And then
large
the
gap
same-
for the footpath, then as you go up the side of Axwell Drive, you would then join the Birdsmouth fencing to the side of the silver fence of the park.
Yeah, all the
And
way.
run that continuously up.
Mhm.
So you have
See that?
Birdsmouth fencing in 2 sections, then you have the silver,
Mm.
it'll be the silver,
Yeah.
We'll come to it.
section.
So what would we do? Sorry.
So just agree, we'll agree to continue.
I agree on that, then we can, just rate and put it in a diagram, what we're gonna do.
Right. Well, yes, Sandra.
Would Throllords not be a more attractive and less maintenance solution to this rather than fencing? Because I can imagine fencing would need painting occasionally.
Mhm.
Seems to me that
Well,
all.
sometimes the bollards need painting because we'll end up with, cars going into them and they're lovely colour when they're finished. That's what was happening in Coton Gate.
It just seemed a more attractive solution.
Right, what we'll do then,
Yeah, Chair, I mean, I don't know about putting motorbikes there, but bollards wouldn't stop motorbikes going on the
That's
other
true.
side.
yeah. So can we look at, Peter's suggestion and can we agree that tonight?
Chair, can I ask a question?
Yeah,
I'm looking at this picture, I know that's the park's further down, but you know the top part, the play football up there? Does any parents go with their pushchairs with the kids up there? Because there'll have to be a gap for them to get in.
yeah.
There'll still be the footpath at the top.
Is this, we can still get in from there?
Well, yeah, there's a footpath at the top.
Right.
Yeah, but I thought it would stagger it so there was a gap, like a small gap that you can sort of put.
Well, that's what I was
Yeah,
thinking, but when I
that's
was
what-
listening to
Yeah.
Peter, he was saying we'll have a fence all the way up, and I'm thinking,
Yeah.
will there be a gap for
Right,
parents?
what we're gonna do, we're gonna,
There is a footpath at
Yeah,
the top,
right.
so that would stay open.
we'll agree to let Peter have a look at it and then, but we'll all agree tonight that if something's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, is everybody in agreement?
What, sorry, what we agreeing just to do partial or?
Well, what we're going to do is agree for Peter to go and have a look to see what's best for her to put in. And if he comes, whatever he comes back with, that'll go in. It's already been agreed that something's going to be put there all year round. Yeah,
Well, that's what I'll agree with, that we're going to go all the way around.
right,
Chair, can we agree contract at A, even though the price might be less if we're putting
yeah,
slightly different? Rather than to come back again with
yeah,
more.
that's right. So can we agree contractor A to do it?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's great. And then this one's about, it's a defibrillator. It's on Broadway up by the changing room. I'm gonna, Malcolm explain this because it's somebody that's put it in. Over to you, Malcolm.
This defibrillator was purchased a few years ago by a local resident. And they bought it and the county council installed it on the Broadway changing room building. Now, unfortunately, I don't think this has ever been registered with the North East Ambulance Service as an active defibrillator. All of ours are online, so if they're used, we get a message to say that accordingly. We've had a request from the county council if we'll take over the responsibility for it. It's the same defibrillator that we've got in all of our other places, you know, Ridley Park, this building, etc. So in terms of supplies for it, it's no different to the parts we use elsewhere. And it's really just to save the responsibility, minimal cost to just take us on board. It's a working machine, and every so often when the pads are used or that the life expectancy is there, we just have to put another pad in, as we do with all of ours. So it's just basically a case of taking it from the county and adding it to our stock and publicising the fact that we've got another defibrillator for public use should the need sadly ever arise that they need one.
And I think because it's at the Broadway, the changing rooms, I think we should take it on because it's their football and everything over there. So I totally agree with that.
I was just about to mention, it's near football and the rising numbers of young lads falling down.
So can we agree to take, sorry, Sandra.
I was just gonna move for recommendation.
Right,
Sounds like
that's great. So that's moved and seconded. Okay, agreed. Right, we've got no delegated actions to consider. You've all had a report from the enforcement. The officer's report is circulated it, and been on holiday. Any other business? Like we've got it to confiscate, yeah?
Yeah, there's a couple of things. I'll touch on the skate park first. The construction team from Wheelscape started last week, you know, clearing the ground and getting ready for the foundations before the concrete goes in. That's probably a week to 10 days away before that starts to get delivered. And, you know, the people we're using for some consultancy on this and ourselves are very happy with the progress that they're making so far. So that's going well. The other side of the skate park scheme is for lighting. This committee agreed that it's obviously more beneficial to potentially reduce antisocial behaviour, etc., and give it a greater use, not just for daylight hours, but for, you know, like 8 o'clock tonight and so on and so forth. But I put in a full planning application. And in the last 7 months, we've been liaising with the planning, liaising with consultants and everybody else. And there has been some objections made on a number of issues about horticulture, which we've addressed, about height of lamp columns, which we've addressed. But public protection very recently came up with another set of objections, which we believed would already satisfy. We've had further discussions with them, and it's now being acknowledged that the information I've actually provided the County Council adequately covers any queries that people have raised with regard to our lighting schemes. So public protection are very happy with what we've given them. So much so that they have publicly withdrawn all objections against Blythe Valley Council in this lighting scheme.
Town council.
Sorry?
Town council.
What did I say?
Slipping into that black hole again.
I was looking at you and I just remembered Blythe Valley.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that terrible flashback.
It's not the first and it will be the last, I'll say that, but sorry about that.
All right.
So anyway, they've publicly withdrawn their objections. Planning are aware of the withdrawing the objections. And what planning are going to do, they're going to have a word with the chair to see if it's a decision that can be passed down to the officers to make, or has it got to go to a committee to make. But we are expecting something in the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
We are in anticipation of that because some of the ducting is going to have to go below concrete. So we're going to have to make, at a minimal cost, we're going to have to make provision for some of the ducting pipes to go in, just maybe from Meter Warren away, in anticipation of getting the plan permission. Because if we don't do it now, to do it afterwards would cost us significantly more money. So we're going to spend a little bit, but it'll be, you know, it's not really worth discussing. But the lighting scheme, the type of issues we've had to cover, are the lamp columns themselves, which are gonna be reduced to 6 meters in height.
Can I just ask a question? Sorry.
It's all right.
If it goes to committee, which committee will it go to?
I'm not sure.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm just gonna declare an interest then, just in case it goes to strategic planning. And then I can say I
They
didn't
do.
do any part. in the
You
discussion.
say.
Does everybody go?
Yeah.
Let's come to that.
It's only done Anna and Jeff and Anna.
No.
Yeah, right.
Sorry, sorry, just to clarify, you said there's gonna be some more spending? Have you got a figure of how much more?
What for this ducting?
Yes.
It's just basically a 5-6 meter length of soil pipe, which I don't know, 20, I don't know. It's gonna be minimal amount of money. And the contractor, the Wheelscape contractor, are actually gonna put it in when they're digging the foundations for the path. So I doubt even, you know, if they did come back and say, you owe us for some bit of plastic piping, I think it might cost more in administration, ask for 20 quid, then it would be worth it.
So,
no, Malcolm covered what I was gonna say.
right, okay. So is everybody all right with that?
Yeah, and all I was gonna finish off with, Chair, was, you know, we've had to reduce the potential height of the light columns. The light heads themselves, we've had to agree to put trees in front of the lamp columns, so that when people are looking from the, like, Ingram driveway, that when the trees get established, the lamp column will be partially hidden behind it. And, you know, we'll have to get county council to agree with our maintenance programme, type of trees we're gonna put in, you know, that the leaves will stay on the tree longer than, so I've had to go through areas which I'm quite well expert in now, which I never thought I was gonna be, but, you know, that's what I've had to do. So honestly, the extent of work has been tremendous on this plan application, but it looks as though we're getting towards the end of that journey now.
Do you mean Ingold Close, not Ingram Drive?
Just a comment, Chair, can we get it built as soon as possible, because our kids in the Isabella Centre on Saturday with Julie doing their training out the skateboard. And we've got the next 6 weeks, I think, is every Saturday, there's kids booked in for training.
Good. Yes, Brian?
I'm glad you brought it up. Do we have a figure of how many children actually attended on Saturday?
With it being the first one, and Julie had as many as she thought, but it's now been advertised in the schools, I think.
Yeah.
So we should get some more signed up.
So do we have a figure? That's all. That's a good question.
I don't have the figure here in this meeting, but Julie has got a record of it. I've seen the record she's had, I just don't have the figure here.
Right.
How many attended last Saturday, but she's also got a table set out for the upcoming Saturdays, and some of them are booked out already, so, yeah. I think that one age range is particularly popular compared to another age range, but they are gradually filling up.
I can imagine you're going to get more than, you know, at least at the end of the day, we're doing something for the future of children. And I think that's very important that we do that. It's their future. Oh, right.
Just ask one then. The other bit of any other business from myself is an update on Maxwell Drive play area. The contractors have been on site just short of a fortnight. That planned duration on site was 3 weeks, so we are ahead of schedule.
Tell them to come back in. Oh, yeah, tell them to come back in, I forgot about them. Sorry, we forgot about yous.
They haven't a good chin wag all day. Start again.
Right, the next update's on Maxwell Drive. I'm going to start a week past Monday. the planned time, the construction time was going to be 3 weeks, but they're well ahead of schedule. They're actually looking to finish the installation of the player equipment on tomorrow. The wet post surface is being put down today, and that obviously takes 24, 30 hours to cure and harden up. On the player itself, excuse me, we do have a number of issues that have come about during the construction. We're having to get, we're having to turf the area as well. So that's got to be, I'm going to work with Peter on that, but that's got to be done. So although it might look finished, it hasn't been inspected. So if anybody injures themselves on it, you know, it's an area where they shouldn't be on. By the time we are inspected, by the time we get the turf down and it watered every day for a week, then we'll open it up. Unfortunately, we've had an unprecedented amount of antisocial behaviour and complaints, particularly from the contract staff. We've had fencing being taken, pushed down, and sometimes I've had to spend an hour putting things right before they start work. They've been very good about it. They haven't put in any claims for additional costs or anything, which has been very, very good of them. But it's getting to a point where there's actually been people who don't know where they're from, who've been causing antisocial behaviour actually when the contractors are working. Not just when they go home, when they're working. So much so that we've been dealing with the contractors who said, hey, enough's enough. And it's quite right. They've been dead right on that. So we made the police aware of it yesterday, and the police have said, anytime we get a call, 999 or 101, we will deal with it as best we can. With the amount of antisocial behaviour and what they've been getting up to, with the wet pole going down, that's a very, very costly exercise. The damage that can be done to it before it hardens off can mean you've got to probably do the whole lot here. So what was decided this morning lunchtime would use a security firm that we use for Blind Live, and we had an agreement that we'll go there for 4 tonight when the contractors were virtually finishing, and leave at 9 o'clock when the contractors were returning to finish off the work. Unfortunately, come 5:30, we've received notification from the security company that the workers are threatening to go home because of the level of abuse, stones getting thrown, things being done. Not only from the, and this is what I've been told on the phone, I haven't witnessed it, but they're also being told getting a fair amount of abuse from the parents, and they have been threatened. The security company. So I don't know what the latest update. I've got to give somebody a ring after this meeting. So I don't know if security staff are there or not at the moment. Before I came in, it was definitely a case of get the police, because if you don't, we might be going home.
Yeah.
That's the position we're in at the moment, sadly.
Yes, Brian.
It was just to come off the back of what you just said, Martin, about the park being finished this week. I spoke to them at 4:30, and they said they can't complete the park this week because they've got some parts missing. So they're coming back Monday to finish it off. And I was talking to them today. But the person, the person who've been given abuse, I think I know who it is, and I'll speak to the parents. Because there's a couple of times I've had to tell a certain child that they have to leave the park. Because,
I certainly don't think this should be down to you. It's a police matter.
well,
We
that's
need
fine. I mean, I know the parents, so
We need to have the police involvement.
but also, I did look at my camera I had outside the house, and the police were there at the start of the meeting. So the police have already been sent to the site.
So why are they telling you one thing and then telling Brian another thing?
I mean, there's a couple of elements to that. I mean, the play park equipment, which was gonna take 3 weeks, is ahead of time, and it's gonna be finished by tomorrow along with the wet ball. The fencing is another part of that job, and that was always going to be done at the very end of it. So the play park equipment is one thing, the fencing is another. There are 4 pieces of fencing which aren't there.
Right.
But what we're doing is that the similar fencing is getting delivered to another contractor who's going to be doing the skate park fencing, the bow fencing. So what's going to happen is we're going to kind of get him to give us 4 panels for Axwell Drive, and then he'll order another 4 for the skate park. But that was always going to be planned.
I wasn't sure.
No, I was just clarifying, the difference between the two.
That clarifies what he's saying as well.
Daniel and then Aileen.
Want to make sure I word this right. The antisocial behaviour is it coming from a certain age group? Like, is it young children or is it like teenagers? Because I thought the work's been done during the week, aren't they all in school? And then the other question is the abuse. You said Martin was abuse from parents as well. Was that towards the contractor, did you say, or the security staff?
Security staff, Daniel.
Is that because
They're telling the kids to get
They're trying to get the kids off,
so the parents are then?
and there's some reaction the other way.
I thought.
But this is just on a phone call I received from the,
No, what I thought you meant was the parents were being abusive towards the contractors, and I thought is
Not
there
to the security.
Yes, the security. Okay.
I mean, there's antisocial behaviour when the contractors are working, trying to do the equipment, because the kids are getting in under the fence and bits and bobs like this. So that's happening as well.
Sorry, just to check, what age were these kids? Sorry, did we not know? Right.
No, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, Aileen.
I've had a few messages of various residents and I've had a conversation with Chris and I meant to talk to you this morning and totally rushed out because I had another meeting. I had a conversation with Chris from Silk, so I just asked if there was any chance you could get a detached team just to wander around up there on an evening to see if they could engage with the young people, because sometimes people in authority, kids aren't going to take any notice. Sometimes a youth worker might just be able to capture a couple of them. So he's going to have his team just have a wander around just to see what's actually going on with the young people. And they are well trained and are professional people. So if there's anything majorly kick off, they'll know how to protect themselves and to take the right route in putting the complaint in towards the police and everything. So it's an extra support for the residents around that area that must be at their wits' end at some points of the day when this is starting. So Chris has agreed to do that with the detached team, just to put a bit more support in.
Very good. Pleased with that. Anything else from anybody? No? Right?
Yeah, I think it's something we need to be aware of when the work starts in earnest on the skate park as well. We may have similar issues up there, we don't know, but just need to keep a close eye on that, obviously.
Right. I'm just shocked. I'm just shocked at the fact that they were building a play park, a better play park for them, and yet there's antisocial behaviour going on. I cannot understand that. I really can't. Right.
I was gonna suggest maybe you see on some of the building sites, we sort of like, and you'll probably, sorry, I'll forget your name, Peter, you've seen them, it's sort of like
Camera.
blue. Yeah, and they've got cameras on, and if anybody comes near it, alarms, sets up a flashing light. We could look at maybe using them in the future, for various sites, and basically just a deterrent, to keep them off. I mean, they're only about year high, it's sort of triangle shape, and then as I said, you get a certain distance to it, sets up light, flashing lights. It's basically a bit of like Peter Kay sort of Phoenix Lights Get Back, and basically just the cameras then, and then we've got a clear picture of who actually is No, entrance,
But
it's just a thought.
we'll be putting cameras up anyway, aren't we?
I think you just, they had them at the Relief Road site, so like, they've got like, them from being, you saw something on them or
I
like.
had them at the
like that.
lagoons and all when we went over there.
I don't know where you get them from, obviously, the.
Various security companies,
We know what it cost them first.
I don't know.
Remember when we.
These are what Brian's referring to, I think, is these tripod, it's a bit like that
Yep.
probably, which are inside the construction site.
Yeah.
As opposed
The
to.
standalone.
Right, okay. So there's a few things to note there that, what's going on. Right, we're moving on. Date and time of next meeting is on the 10th of December 24 at 6 p.m. Okay? We can go into part 2. All right,
Sorry, Chair, can I be excused, if we're over there?
yeah.
You just said it was live.
Right. Right, the recommendations, this is to do with apartments, so. The recommendation to resolve to agree the recommendations from the partnership board for a new memorandum of understanding, agreement for operation to 25-26, which in principle will see the withdrawal of the planned enhanced grass cutting provision and more concentration on weed spraying control than that previously, along with other enhancements were identified. The board to work with NCC along those lines and report back to the next Environment Committee. The members of the board, along with the council officers, continue with internal discussions and research at the elements within the current agreement as to the future delivery of such that affects all wards. So, you want, you don't want to come in?
I was just gonna say that the partnership board for those members that aren't on it have been meeting regularly with the county and ourselves to discuss, you know, the memorandum which came in last year because the 5-year partnership agreement ended with the county council in March 2024. But for the last year of that 5-year agreement, we decided on a change of focus really, whereby Blyth Town Council wanted to concentrate on the gateway routes and leave the toll cuts, which are your immediate cuts within the estates, to the county council. All other services such as bush shelter cleansing and street cleansing would remain the same. We've been monitoring this, and last year there was some hiccups along the way. This year, some of these have been sorted out, but the county council have been hindered in various ways, which will bring Peter in. And tonight really is to go through the county council's proposal on how they can improve on last year, particularly on the grass cutting side and the weed element. And it's really just to hear that and to ask Peter any questions that you wish to ask of him. And then following that, we can have our own chat about how the board thinks, because I mean, Kath's read it out there, but the board aren't happy with the, if you like, the contribution that we're making. And I know Peter will come into quantity and quality and things like that, but there is a discussion point which you can have about we're contributing to something, but we're basically only receiving the core service. But hopefully Peter will go through, he's got a presentation and he'll give the counties slant on various things and the problems and how they see it as well. Okay, Peter.
Just thought about it, yeah, Stephen Morgan, obviously is unable to make it this evening, was due to present this presentation. Due to a family bereavement. So, my name is Peter Bowman, I'm the area manager for the Water Neighbourhood Services, and I cover the Athlete Applied and Newbiggin area. both companies might have to move.
Mouth in the corner.
So just for a bit of clarity, obviously the memorandum of understanding between Blythetown Council and Northumberland County Council was written confirmation of the extension of the Neighbourhood Services Partnership Agreement 2019-2024. For simplicity, all the original agreements, terms and conditions will be maintained except for the two clauses relating to termination liabilities, which Greg Gavin had touched on in a previous meeting. And throughout this as well, it's keep letting you know that Northumberland County Council are currently going through a grounds maintenance review, which is part way through at the moment, and it's a 2-year review, which looks into everything from grass cutting, the frequencies, and the amount of machinery we have, to the staffing levels that we have as well. And the aims of the proposed new performance and the monitoring process was to better inform members on quality. To build flexibility into the partnership as well, which we felt was a little rigid in structure, to enable the partnership board to make more informed decisions as well, and to improve the flow of information between Northumberland County Council and Blythetown Council officers and members. Now, the current model, it monitors the timing of cuts as opposed to the quality, so we do focus on more of a quantity over quality. So it's process driven, not output driven. Little to no feedback of monitoring of quality, and it does remain slightly static all year. No seasonality and cutting frequencies, and is a little rigid by design. The proposed model would be to increase the inspection numbers both for grass and LEQs, and then when we look at LEQs, it's the local environment quality inspections, and that's from a street cleansing perspective as well. Make decisions based on quality rather than the number of frequency of cuts, and agree the meeting structure for officers and members, enable better information and performance sharing, and to align the officer and members' views, which we felt was a little bit of a disconnect at present. The graph taken from there is actually real data taken from the Blythetown Council monitoring tool. So at the moment, Blythetown Council officers would inspect the grass quality, and as you can see by the top graph there, there are a lot of greens, which means it is an acceptable standard. The bottom graph is something which not a lot of people want to see because it is a lot of reds, which instantly means that is there something not right, is there something going wrong. The bottom version is the timing of the cuts. Now, the monitoring periods are exactly the same. Top version is quality inspection. The bottom one, and if you look at the first 3 sections all the way across the board, that will tie in with the poor weather conditions we had at the very start of the season. Unprecedented amount of weather from back end of last year in the Cross. I think you all remember that Spine Road was to a point where it submerged a small vehicle at one point as well. So ground conditions invariably end up extremely poor. The Spine Road overnight closures and cyclical maintenance was postponed by a month, which is the first time we've ever had to do that. So that subsequently has knocked back a month again. And the interpretation of the date from exactly the same period is very different as well. So an example which was drafted of moving to an inspection focus model. And to save Blythetown Council staff dramatically increased the number, I'm going to have to actually disagree with the words that were put on here. Because I don't think there is need for Blythetown Council staff to dramatically increase that. I think it will be a joint effort between both NCC and Blythetown Town Council to agree a standard and increase the number of visual quality inspections and populate the existing LEQ tab, which is a part of our monitoring tool. A traffic light colour system is used to identify areas of concern, amber or red. And officers from Blythetown Council and Northumberland County Council would review the quality inspection results at an agreed frequency and discuss any adjustments that needed. They could target a specific area of concern and could generally increase the frequency if amber or red is starting to dominate the sheet again. So if we do see too many yellows and reds, we realise it's an issue. We can both recognise that we may need to deploy resources to there rather than focus on the quantity of cuts. It will be quality again. We could generally reduce the frequency if green dominated the sheet. So we could say, do you know what, are we just cutting grass for the sake of cutting it? Does it still look okay? The inspections are really proving that they are good. Where else could we then deploy? Now, should a reduction in frequency be agreed, the alternative focus will be agreed, i.e. this year it would have been to focus on weeds. As I'm sure we've all been made aware of this, the county did inject some much needed resources into Blyth, Ashington and Newbiggin as part of my remit to try and address that issue. There are mixed varying results across the entire county, whether that was successful or not. We found in some areas and certain areas of Blythe that it was, but what we found was the staff which we were given a very, very short notice were not qualified to control weeds afterwards. So they were only there to remove the weeds, and unless you control weeds afterwards, you are just going to get the return problem again. Councillors will be advised on any changes in frequency and a shift in focus. And we found the key thing this year as well, which we found from an NCC point of view, was our communications were lacking. And we'll be looking to send out information to the public of any shift in priority as well. So we liaise with yourselves on that one. Frequency of performance review meetings between the officers to be agreed as well. We have a weekly officers meeting to discuss any issues, and that could increase, decrease depending on how we found it was working. Frequency of performance feedback meetings with the council will also be agreed. There's a graph there if you can just see that as well. And from an ecological point of view, grass grows at different rates throughout the year. We found that the chart below would show a 10-year long-term average growth rate, which is the dotted line in the middle. And it primarily grows fastest early in the season. This season it didn't tend to grow fast because it was submerged under a lot of water, but then slows from June onwards. And this potentially offers opportunities to redirect resources should the need arise. So again, weeds this year, it is something which has crept up an awful lot again, and it is something that we are hoping to try and address. And hopefully this model and this proposal goes a long way to help resolve that. Just an example of what a specific area of concern might look like. This is not the real one. This is just figures that we put in. We use the location. So the above shows the gateways and the Chestnut Avenue to be a concern where it's been uncut, where you'll see the yellow and the red in the section there. And Rotary Way to be a concern in terms of excessive horizons following a cut. So that would be a suggestion that was left too long between the scheduled number of cuts. An example of what proposing a general increase in frequency might look like. The above would show a general increase in amber and red quality inspection results. This suggests that cutting frequencies might be generally too slow and require an increase across most areas. And this will be something that we will pick up in our officers' meetings together and work towards. An example of what proposing a general reduction in frequency might look like. So the above shows good results in all areas inspected by Blythe Town Council staff. I have to say it includes Northumberland County Council staff in there as well. That would be team leaders, senior team leaders, and myself as area manager. This may indicate that cutting frequency could be reduced and an alternative focus chosen. Again, weed control. That's the end of Stephen and mine as a substitute for the presentation. Again, I'm more than happy to take some questions if I can answer them right now. I will do my very best. If I can't, I will go away and find out an answer, and I will return the answer.
Brian?
Yeah, obviously we touched on about the issues with weeds, and it's a massive issue across Blythe. Yes, I totally agree, and really bad about this year. The wettest summer we've had since 2010. Climate change, if you whatever argument you want to do with that one, that's fine. What going forward is the plan if we have another year like this next year to make sure that we have some sort of control of the weeds, because around where I live, it is some of them have got, you know, about 4 foot high and some street corners, not nice to look at, and it's I'll agree, it's not just here. I've seen it in Sunderland. I've seen it in parts of Newcastle, so it's not just an inherent thing, but it's our area. What is what is the contingency plan? What are you planning to do better to counteract?
What we will be looking to do is obviously if let's say the weather did lend itself again, where it was very poor again, quite even like the beginning of this year. If we couldn't potentially cut grass because of ground conditions again, which the quantity will be poor. Which then typically away from exactly what we're trying to get to is actually the quality of cuts. If you can't generally cut grass because of the weather, you can't actually apply weed control because of the weather either. So we'll be focusing on weed removal. So we would deploy our resources to using strimmers, shovels, scrapers, brushes, The Vinnie Street has had metal brush as well, which we could use to utilise and remove the weeds. We have found notorious if we don't treat them within a certain time, these weeds just come back. It's almost like getting a haircut every week. You just have to keep going back. But we would then utilise the resources to then remove weeds more from a cleansing perspective as well.
Anybody else? Questions? No? Warren?
Yeah, just a couple of points from the report that you did, Malcolm. We talk about the councillors receiving much more reaction from residents about weed control. I understand that, but do we include Fix My Street reactions from when you're talking about reaction from residents there?
All we're doing, it's the type of thing I'm talking about is when a councillor might raise something in their ward or another ward where they might be walking their dog or something. And the right to the county or the right to us, and then we pass it on to Peter or Stephen or something like that, but we don't look at Fix My Street.
Well, I'm just wondering if that might be something we look at to feed that information. It's probably good information. You know, if people are feeding them concerns through Fix My Street, that somehow we can feed that into the monitoring process.
Yeah, I am aware that the weed removal team who came in, a lot of their work actually focused on the Fix My Street complaints that were given. So as a point of reference for the first week they started,
Right.
there were some Fix My Street complaints which had made their way to neighbourhood services via Will. And he issued them as a point to start getting started. Then we obviously took on board councillors, wards, areas and such things as well.
The second point, Chair, sorry,
Yeah.
just the second point was regarding bush shelter cleansing. I kind of have to disagree with that they've all been carried out to the regular. They probably have to the regularity, but I'm not sure they've been carried out to the standard. Having done the visit this morning, I was pretty depressed by the standard of bush shelters, to be honest.
Yeah, I understand that one. Yeah, I can only agree on that one as well. Before I came across, just to put them in perspective, I came across here as area manager in mid-May. So I'm still slightly relatively new to the area as well, but I have worked within Blythe for a period of 7 years, but as a street cleansing operative. And the bush shelters then, it was a board of contention then. What we found is that we are now not allowed to have operatives working at height without specific training. So we had to purchase some extendable lances for the small streeters to carry with them. Unfortunately, the lances which we did purchase have become, they are too large to be carried on the small streeter itself, but they need to be transported out by another vehicle to be on site. So on that specific day, they would then have to travel with them. So it's almost putting an additional resource with them to clean the bush shelter roofs in a safe manner. But I do have to agree, the regularity may have been there, but the standard hasn't been.
And you purchased some ladders to get to the top, haven't you?
We do have ladders that we got at the top, but as everything happens these days, we have to be trained to actually get onto a ladder these days. And back in the day, we could have just popped the steps up and just cleaned the top. But I actually did clean the top of bush shelter roofs many moons ago when I worked in Blythe, and there wasn't a ladder in sight. I am 6'7" though, so I did.
Anna, did you want to come in?
Just on Colin's point, I think it's a really good point on the Fix My Street, because I think what you find is there will be certain people in certain areas where it gets reported more regularly, but that doesn't mean to say other areas are the same. So I think having some kind of monitoring on that, with linking in with the inspections that you guys are going to do together, so that we're not having a disparity of, because you've got a particular area that's got 100 people complaining that they get the service in another area that's just as bad, but people don't tend to complain there.
Yeah, sorry, to just answer that one as well. Yeah, we do find that sometimes the complaints almost double up. So we'd have the same complaints from ward councillors as the Fix My Street complaint will come in as well. So if we're dealing with one, sometimes if we don't want them to get addressed as a Fix My Street service, we are obliged to close these off correctly as well. So they are working on more templates. So you get a template answer when you put this one in first, and they're a little bit vague at first. So they put them through the comms team. So I see where I'm coming from. They were a little vague at first, but now what they're doing is they're becoming more detailed, more generalised, so that Fix My Street complaint can go to the right department at the very right time at its earliest opportunity. So that is something we can look at going forward, as well as incorporate Fix My Street into the complaints.
Good. Daniel?
Peter, we all go through the correspondence with our residents, and we have to answer back to them regarding the state of the live pavement of the weeds. Can you tell us straight why we're not, within the last year or a few months, we've seen such a major increase of weeds? And you've mentioned, the regularity's been there, but not the standard.
The regularity and not the standard was a reference to the. Again, like I say, everything was not back because of the start of the year, so when backup's not back, weed control is not. Fortunately, we can mention this every year, and it has caught optimum growing season. Weeds just become more robust. And the chemicals that we use are the same in the exchange, so we actually use Roundup, or Advantage, which is a safe, clean chemical to use on the streets. We've had a couple of requests for people to produce the label to residents to actually show that it is fit for purpose as well. We just find that it needs to be put down in the correct conditions as well. So if we're having even the slightest of breezes, we can't take the risk that we will cross-contaminate or poison anybody's private properties. That just opens up a whole new can of worms. So we are looking at it has to be the perfect optimum time to actually spray the weeds, and unfortunately there's few and far between. Just to put you in the picture of that one, next week we have looked at a forward plan for next week. Forecasts, I want to say touch wood, all of them are favour. And then we do have 3 quad bikes in operation in Blythe next week, so we'll hopefully cover some serious ground with things next week.
So just to clarify, we're saying that when you said the start of the year, it was down with the weather.
Yes.
So that's included wind as well, but as you say, when you
Yes,
spray
it is,
it.
yeah. It is, yeah.
Brian?
Can I just say, are we allowed to say his name? Who's in charge of the team that covers the area of Blythe?
My senior team leader.
Yeah, I don't want to say his name on the,
You're in
Uh,
part 2 anyway.
sorry.
You're in part 2 anyway, so this isn't all.
That just, I've asked Will a few things, to get things sorted. I just wanted to pass on, how professional he is, how he, he's always stepped up whenever I've asked him. So I just want to pass on that. I've also passed it through the leader of county council as well, but just while you're here, I just want to say, the team, have always been, professional. Whenever I've raised something, they've always acted quite fast. So I just wanted to pass that. Thanks.
I am aware that he did receive the compliment via the leader as well, so I'm aware of that one. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, most welcome.
He does get a lot of compliments of all councillors. So he has done
He's
it.
really
We'll
good.
continue doing that.
He's a nice lad, I keep hearing.
Yes, he's lovely.
Sure. Sandra?
I was just wondering, we've had the tour this morning, and I must say that the gateway areas were nice and neat. But so was Ponteland, and so was Cramlin, and so was St. Donovan, and so was St. Sue's. They don't pay anything like we do. Why would we continue to pay more towards it when we're not getting any better service than the rest of them all?
I know other areas do have specific enhancements, they do have different agreement. I can't speak in terms of finances for other area, that would be wrong of me to do. That'll be something you have to take up with the other area managers potentially. But I am aware that I could use Crampton as the example. They brought away Crampton Town Council have 7 employees who look after roundabouts only, and that is their only remit. So when we had the tour this morning of the roundabouts, which I'm sure we'll all agree there were many of, if you only had roundabouts to look after and you had 7 staff to look after those roundabouts, I would fully expect it to be as pristine and tidy as what they were as well. What they don't look after is the rest of the amenity grass, which covers Crampton as well.
Yeah.
But again, Ponteland, we did see examples this morning of strimming under obstacles, which was apparent in a lot of the areas. Probably all bar Seaton Valley, which was incredibly pristine and tidy. And I think we mentioned this morning that they were actually recipients of working towards Britain in Blue. So when such like areas like that do come around, there is a targeted approach to blitz an area and keep things tight up. But I absolutely take on board what you're saying. If partnerships up here, enhancements to get that as well. But other partnerships have different makeups as well.
Okay. Anybody else got any questions? Brian,
This is my last one, maybe thankful as well. It was just asked about, edging of grassed areas. Seems to be a big thing that isn't getting as done as probably as much as people would like. Cookie Farm, for you people close on that, in some places in front of it, what is the plan for that, and what has been the plan in the past?
I would have to speak to Will on that one, senior team, and see what was being done in the past and how much actual coverage was actually done, because I am aware that Blythe probably had more footpath edging and did concentrate on footpath edging than in other areas that I'm responsible for. What we found is footpath edging combined with an aging workforce is becoming a time and labour intensive task. It's not just the use of machines which can play have horrendous consequences on hand-on vibration and things that actually not monitor correctly. But it's even just the laborious task of clearing up the edgings behind with a wheelbarrow, which I'm sure you've seen them do. Then it gets manually tipped into a vehicle. We do have an aging workforce who are on the verge of retiring, and the last thing they want to be doing in the winter is think, I'm going to have to shovel up more edgings and things. So we're looking more towards the mechanical movement of that as well. But at the end of the day, you still have to have people to operate machinery as well. So I'll check in with Will to see what the plans have been, what the success rate over the last few years has been. And to see what the plan is for this winter coming up as well.
Appreciate it.
Grant, do you want to ask a
I'm
question?
not quite, I may say the partnership board chair.
No, bother.
Yeah.
Right, Warren?
Yeah, it was just a question on the NCC's grounds maintenance review. I think Peter said it was 2-year review. So that, the outcome of that will be known at the end of this memorandum of understanding, which is for 25-26.
I do believe so, yes. I think we are partway through, nearly halfway through the first part of the review. The outcome of that, I couldn't even hazard to try and guess what the outcome of that would be. It's quite an extensive review as well.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Anybody else? No? Well, Peter, can I just thank you very much for coming along, taking the time to come along, and this just proves how passionate you are about the job you're doing. So, thank you very much for that. And we'll thank you for your needs.
No problem.
Okay,
Thank you very much for your time, everybody. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
thank you.
I know what you're all thinking, you're too young to have a grandson.
That's what you're wishing we're thinking.
He is too young to have a grandson, he told me today.
If there are, Chair, if there are any more questions with Paul after this, after I've left, if you like to feed them through, there's not. Do certainly my best to follow up, okay?
No problem, thank you so
Thank you very
much.
much.
Hello.
Cheerio. Thank you.
Right then. What's people's thoughts about it? Daniel?
I agree with what yourself, you Kat and Graham Baker said, the partnership in the notes I was reading. Where you said, yourself, Kat, you would like to have a dedicated team to tackle the issues in Blythe. Totally agree with that. And then Grant, as well yours, somewhere I haven't circled it. I think you said something about, yeah, that was it. So their towns and villages have a better services agreement than we do in Blythe. Totally agree. And that's why I think that I would like us to pull out of the partnership, and we should focus on changing the direction of Blythe as to how we spend this money. So if you have any of you have driven through Holywell today, if you see how many flowers and how beautiful it looked, that is the kind of thing I would love Blythe to go for. Is we should be challenging other towns and parishes in terms of our town being so within the biggest town in the north there, Northumberland. We should really go for it, and we should instead spend this £350,000 on improving our gateways to a standard of beauty. That's what I'd love to say. So although I'm not on this this committee chair, I can't vote on this myself, but I would strongly say that this is what we should do as a council. Let's go in a brand new direction, and I'm sure the residents, you know, out there would probably agree with us tonight if we did this. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for that. Anna?
I don't disagree with what Daniel's saying, but I think pulling out the partnership altogether might not be the right way to do it, because ultimately we saw the day in Cramlin where they pulled out of the partnership and their grass was not as good as our grass as we went round some of the places, because that's not part of their deal. Their deal is simply just the roundabouts, and on the Hollywell side, they've got a massive team of the Friends of Hollywell that do a lot of the work there. So I think that's relying a lot on volunteers, and that's classed as a large village, and they actually got the silver gilt, because I looked it up today, so they've done it really well. You know, well done to them, because it does look fantastic. But I think what I learned today was like the different areas and the different nuances of different areas, like Seaton Sluice. I drive through there every day when I go to work, and that's beautiful along the front with all those flowers, but that's actually another group that do it. So where we've got like groups in the park and groups like Alien, there is bits of the town that we do it, but we're such a large town, I don't know whether we can fully replicate that by having it. And I feel like Peter's understanding, because I said this morning, and you know, you agreed with me, we can't keep paying for something where we're not getting something in return. But what I pointed out was, if we've got a partnership agreement which literally says we're cutting the gateways 27 times and we're literally only on 7 grass cut, how on earth did we sign up for a partnership that ever had 27 cuts on the gateway? So I think it's really about focusing what we want as a town and which areas we want to look amazing, and not doing all of the, you know, some of the other things that actually pulls the lads off for a big period of time in order to do something that, why are they doing it again? So,
For that, Anna.
yeah.
Grant?
Chair, the problem we have as a town council is that we've never been given the split between the services that we pay the additional funding for.
Right.
Now, over the years, this is year 7 or 8, isn't it, of the memorandum of understanding. Over those 7 or 8 years, the county council have never achieved the basic service of 10 cuts across Blythe. Never. It hasn't been reached at all in any single year. Therefore, if we knew the cost of the grass cutting, we would say we don't wish to pay for extra grass cutting. And then from there, move to whatever, as you're saying, Daniel, as Anna said, move into areas where we can use that money, the additional money we pay for the grass cutting, it never happens, in these areas that you would like to see, more bedding or whatever it is, more weed control. Without a doubt, it's a disaster, weed control, and trying to resolve some sort of issue about bush shelter cleansing. And, you know, because people have to be trained on ladders, that's a unit bollocks, I mean, use that term, don't mean that. That is not, our bush shelters do not need that. You know, they just need better machinery or better sort of ideas. We passed a bush shelter today, and you'll have all seen it in West Court and Blythe. You'll have all driven along that must have several tons of ivy growing on the top of it.
Yeah.
Several tons. How it's never collapsed, I do not know. It's a 4.5-inch brick wall with a timber roof, and the ivy is at least the height of the bush shelter growing on top of it. The weight of that must be tremendous when it's wet. So they haven't taken any notice of bush shelter. That must have taken years to grow, and they've never had it. They haven't even had a hack at it. You know, so that you know, they've ignored the work that Blythe wanted to. There's a bush shelter around the corner in South End Avenue, where the perspex is just scratched to bits. You might as well put timber boards in, because you can't see out the perspex. It's, you know, pure scratched and scraped. And that's the same right across Blythe. You know, our bush shelters are absolutely awful. So we'll probably need to find out the cost of them and do something else with them, because they're very expensive to replace. So it's about the split. We need to definitely know what the split is and demand to know what the split is. We should be writing to Paul Jones and say, what is the split in our additional work?
Yeah.
And we demand to know on X date before the next partnership board. Anyway, I'll probably said enough, Chair.
Well, all right, you're fine, you've got every other.
Jeff agreed.
Yes, Brian?
It was, to ask Malcolm a question. if they don't meet the number of cuts in a year that you've said, do we get
Yeah,
a rebate back or?
yes.
We do get a rebate back.
Yeah.
But I'll support what Grant's saying here about the cost of each service. If they don't do grass cutting, the question I've asked is, what do people do?
Yeah.
And that's what I'm not 100% sure of. I'm sure they do something, but I'm not sure what they do. For me, it's a very confusing thing because you've got core, which are the housing estates, and we just focus on grass cutting. And we've got the enhanced cuts, which are the gateways. But, and I must admit, I've been in a situation where I've had 30 members of staff in a previous local authority. Just say that. And I know for a fact, some people should be doing that, some people do that. But when you got your back against a wall, you juggle them about, you get people to do X, Y, Z. I've got a feeling that goes on at the county, but it's something that I can't prove, but if I managed them, that's the way I would manage the service. But if we did get the costs, it would allow us to say, right, on bush shelter, if we're paying for our, like I say, bush shelter we've got ish, you know, just say we're paying £16,000 to get them cleaned a year, £30,000, whatever it is. It would allow us, in the course of time, to go to some local contractors to say, how much would you charge us to do that? And that would allow us to be more independent and pay directly for the services, such as we're paying for the play park or the skate park, to say, right, we're happy with the work, there's the money. But this is a much more, it's a partnership, we'll pay the money, we'll get money back, but what I would like, in whatever final agreement we come to, that we carry out an external audit of it. So we know how the costs are getting built up. And if we're going to get a rebate, I would like to check how that's been calculated as well, because we might get 11,000 back, but I don't know. You might say, oh great, we've got 11,000, but I don't know if it should be 8 or if it should be 21. And it's just all.
A couple of 100,000.
So,
The grass cutting's the largest part of this. It's got to be at least 2/3 of the £350,000 up here.
John?
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on the gateway cuts, because the 27 cuts is not a figure that we said we wanted cut 27 times. You actually measure the acreage of grass there are on the gateways, and you know how many staff they're going to put on, and then you've got some new machines to do it, and they told us they could cut it 27 times a year. Not some of the way sort of said, well, demand that I would cut 27 times. They said that's what they could do, but they've never.
But they said this to Colin that they couldn't do that.
Couldn't do that.
Never done it. So
Even
when I asked that question,
Yeah,
they couldn't
I was
do
gonna
that
say,
unless the wind was blowing in the right direction and the weather was perfect, then it's good then.
And they have staff.
I was Peter.
Yeah, staff issue.
Peter has only just come into this team.
Yeah.
And he was saying that, and he's been realistic, and that's the thing.
And he did write down everywhere this morning, he came back and he'd written it down and he was able to say, I can totally
Exactly.
recognise, I felt he did, so. Whether we're,
Jeff?
Just,
No, hang on, it's Jeff first, and then you.
right.
sorry, I put it in there.
What it seems to me is that everybody wants just more control of, you know, who in the right mind would want those pieces of grass cut 27 times? You know, and if anybody can be bothered, drive up my street tomorrow at any point through the day, and it's just like weed sample. It is from one end to the other.
Must be showing the
Just-
nice people, Jeff.
Well,
Mine.
I mean, I just thought, well, obviously, I'm not gonna complain, because I don't want anybody thinking, oh yeah, well, look, his street's all right, his street's been done. But I mean, it's ridiculous, and I never got this gateway thing. I mean, I would rather see all the streets and all the estates
Absolutely.
treated properly, as weed-free as they can be. It's because it's the people who live here
Yeah.
are paying for that. It's not the people that drive into the town to do whatever it is they're gonna do, but it's the people living here that are actually paying for it. And, you know, this 350 odd thousand pounds is a third of our budget is being spent on doing this. And what control have we got over that? Not. And so I think that it, I don't know how much more rope you wanna give them. But it's always, I don't know if anybody in the county council's thinking, well, let's just get one more year out of it, let's just get one more year out of it, because this is the second extension. And this, I don't know whether what I'm about to say is ageist, and I apologize, I don't mean it in any sense of being disrespectful to anybody. But the reason something is not being done is because the people who are doing it are too old. I mean, oh, how am I?
Yes, I thought that more.
But
You
that
know-
is the reality though.
Well, yeah, it might be,
But yeah,
but it's £300,000 of our money is being given to them to deliver a service. And from what you're all saying, is that you're not happy. Well, one way or the other, from my point of view, everybody's doing the best they can. And so, you know, I can live with it. You know, my street's a disgrace, but everybody's doing the best they can. And everybody's apologetic when it doesn't go right. So, hey, if that's what it has to be, that's what it has to be. But I just think that we should get a hold of this, you know, and have people at that partnership like you were all there and just saying, well, you know, we don't actually have to give you this money, you know, never mind asking for it. You know, you get the bill, say, we're not paying that until you tell us X. And what are they gonna do?
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna stop cutting the grass. Well, stop cutting the bloody grass then. You know, if you've got to get down to it with them, then, you know, let's get down to it. But I just think that everybody's trying their best. And we just actually need to know what we want and tell them that that's what we want. You know, oh yes, you're gonna cut the grass. Well, we don't want the grass cut 27 times there. What we want is the grass cut everywhere 15 times. And if you got a bit of extra time, you can do that again if you like. Anyway, sorry, I've rambled on. So I just think that the only way you're gonna get this done is by just being more assertive.
Yeah. Right, I'm only going to take Daniel's. Did you, Sandra? Sorry.
I was
going to say
just,
Daniel was before you.
Yeah.
one.
I'm loving all the impassioned speeches, and I think it's so great that we're both taking this personally, because I like Peter, and he gave a good speech, but that bit about wind, I'm sorry to say it, but I think that was bollocks as well. I don't believe that one second, because the weed has been so really bad in Blythe, especially in my area, and it's never been unbelievable. Yeah, rubbish. So I think something else is going on. I don't believe that wind thing. All right, I don't. That doesn't click with me. It could be that they're used to some chemical spray or whatever it is, and times are changing that you can't have this chemical going on. People like, you know, Caitlin ourselves got allergies and that. It could be that, I don't know. But another thing as well is, you're right. Let's get independent. Let's use the initiative and seize control. Let's do our own thing. Let's decide what we want, and we can tackle everything in our life how we want to do it, and get the independent contractors out, like you say, and let's just focus on getting Blythe the way the enhancements and the amount of money that we're using to NCC, but it's shocking level of service we've had for the last year. It's like a bad divorce. Let's get out of this divorce. I'm not staying any longer. Let's get divorced. Let's become single again, and let's go out and have some fun and let's use all our brains and let's build power, and let's start doing things the way we want to do. And more importantly, let's challenge the other towns and villages that we can be better than you.
Sorry, Jed, just for clarification, I'm not talking about divorce. I'm talking about going to marriage guide,
Right.
getting our partner to see things from our point of view and deliver what we want for a change instead of what they want.
I'm going to bring Sandra in as the last person to speak, because I know these officers have been here since early hours this morning. Sandra,
If the other areas can look like we did today, without like an extension like we pay, why can't we look like that with the same level of cuts that they do?
Mhm.
And there's just no getting away from it. I mean, Cromlin might not have been as good, but it wasn't horrible.
We didn't go into the estates though.
right,
We didn't go to the estates, but the grass cutting wasn't the problem, was it? It
Well, I
was
think
the
that-
weeds and
Right.
the litter.
The weeds are the problem in Blythe.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
we have been looking at it. And one of the things that keeps coming up is, we'll not cut the grass, we're not getting to cut the grass. We're getting to look after other things, is what we want them to look
Yeah.
after. I bring Malcolm in with it because there was quite a few things that will come up, but before I do, Grant, have you lost your wallet?
Want some money then?
No, no,
Somebody's
just somebody's found a wallet. Sorry about this, it's just come through to us.
I'll make it do, yes.
Yeah. Is your, date of birth, 1952?
Yeah.
It was on Renwick Road, was found on Renwick Road.
I've been on Renwick Road today.
Well,
Just through the bus. You didn't shut your window, did you?
well, she's outside, she wants to give you your wallet back. Okay, so, shall we, the meeting's finished, so, all right, so are we, so what's a few things that we need to do now? That's what we're going to talk about. Because one of the things that's been said is about the get away from grass cutting, just let the county cut the grass. Yeah, we have a team concentrating more on, litter picking, the bus shelters and things like that. What people are saying are an eyesore, you know? And we need to come up with something to say this is what we want for our partnership. It's not gonna cost nowhere near as what we're paying now. So we can come out of that. So what's everybody's
Focus
idea
more
on
on
that?
doing more flowers and enhancing with more, and be more creative
Yeah,
in what we do for our streets and our people.
yeah, Anna?
Get
Well, I
on
think what
board.
Malcolm said is we need that split. I think we need that split of what's costing for things before you can then say, right, this costs this and what we can do with things. So I think we need that split first before we can go on. So I thought that the committee is just to resolve for a new memorandum of understanding, which I think we're saying, and we'll continue internal discussions and research. Is that not what we're voting for tonight? So we're saying within that, what we want is the breakdown of the costs, and then come back and be able to decide.
That's what we'd have to do.
Because I don't think we can decide tonight, all of a sudden, we're not saying, no, I'd like a few more.
What we're saying is, this is thoughts we had. What do people think? We're not saying we're gonna go there
No, I'm
and
just
take it
thinking
on.
of the recommendation that's per the officer's report.
Yeah.
Because that covers what
Yeah.
we're.
But we're just saying if what some of the things we can do. Mhm. Yeah, Malcolm's coming in on it.
I was just gonna say, and it's exactly what Anna said. I mean, Daniel has come out, to look after everything ourselves. That would be that's not an immediate process. It's obviously a bit of a longer term project, Daniel, as you well appreciate. I think, coming out just to explain the recommendation, we're paying for an enhanced service. We've been paying for it for years. But we've never actually, if we've achieved the core cuts, they've just been slightly above.
Yeah.
But we've been paying for a lot more. So in terms of justifying the payment to the partnership, we wouldn't be able to fully demonstrate that. It's not like getting a player in and say, well, that's a £70,000 well spent. We couldn't do that on this partnership agreement because we haven't got the breakdown, because we don't have a more formal agreement of saying, you were going to do this, you didn't, we'll not pay you at all, or you'll get a yellow card, then you get a red card, then you're off. We don't do that. It's not that type, it's more of a friendly, cozier, which you've referred to relationship. So the idea is, it's just saying, look, we've never had the grass cutting.
Yeah.
We're not gonna bother paying for it, but let's discuss, because there might be resource and cost implications as well. What we do want, which is, you do the grass cutting, we want the weeds done so there's non-visible, we want the bush shelters cleaned more regularly, we want to do this and the other. What's your proposal of cost for next year? I think then when we get the breakdown of each individual element, if the council wish to go down this route, it then gives us more of a lead in time to say, bush shelters we can't clean because they are ours. So we do that. Play areas we can do what we want. We might have to cut the grass ourselves and not the county. So by coming out with a grass cutting agreement, we might have to have a separate agreement with the county or somebody else to say cut the grass. On certain things, such as if we went down the route of a weed spraying team, our own operatives are getting Strauns or whoever to do them, we'd have to get permission from the county.
Get it. Get it.
Yes, that's the last time I got the littles, I was gonna do.
Sorry about that.
If were the moths all right,
Sorry?
were the moths all right?
Well, it's the queen's, sunglasses on.
If we went down the route, you know, if this is how the council want, of employing our own operatives or employing people separately, for the likes of weed spraying, we'd have to have an agreement with the county that we could weed spray on their pavements because they're not ours. So we'd have to get into certain agreements like that. It might work our advantage as well, because if we're spraying their surfaces,
We'll charge them.
you could, sorry,
We could charge them.
we could ask for a donation from them to the service that we're providing. Because it's still a council core function to look after the streets. So if we say, well, we'll employ 5 operatives just walking around every day weed spraying, how about you giving us some money back? So we could end up like that, but it's probably a thing to go totally get divorced.
They would answer that to us instead of them answering to the county and then having to pass it back to us, so we can go straight to them.
But you know, that couldn't be done for April the 1st. It would be a little bit further down the line.
I mean,
But that's the way we'll
threaten them. I mean, I think when you speak, sorry, Chair, when you get down to speaking to them, you need to reflect on what, you know, everybody's really hacked off with the way you've dealt with this year. You know, and it took your strength of argument to stop us chucking them off the job. You know, I mean, that's because that's where we are, isn't it? None of us are happy. I would just rather, as I say, come to switch it round, so it's like, well, yeah, we're giving you the money, and this is what we want. We are not any longer prepared to give you the money for you to do what you want. If we're paying for it, we want to tell you what it is we want, not what we're going to get. Because you deem that it's, you know, we've got these big grass cutters and we've got to use them. Well, we don't want that anymore.
Just a suggestion where we have to we make progress in the future. It might be, and we should take this through Peter Kemp by the way, it might be prudent for us to employ a quantity surveyor for a short period of time to actually price out what our actual work is, such as the cleansing of 100 odd bush shelters. Quantity surveyors will put a value on that. You know, and the additional stuff such as watering our planters, the quantity surveyor would, once we know the numbers of the planters, I presume we know that, we'll be able to put a price on that. Bedding, we'll be able to put a price on that, not that we'll get much bedding. But once a quantity surveyor gave you those figures, you would know, if you want to take it all back, you could say, well, we think we can do the bus shelters for £5,000. It's a figure out of the year, that, you know, but then that's the type of thing you could do, and as Jeff said, turn the whole thing around and let them tender for our work. And not us give them money to waste on our work.
So, one last time now, we need to do.
Sorry, yeah.
on this.
Can we not get them to do the work, inspect the work, and then they invoice us for the work at our standard quality?
We're more or less working that way because, there's the officers and NCC go out and inspect the work. Our lads are going out every 2 weeks. Now, I don't think they should be doing that because they should be doing it. You know?
For that, yeah. Right, okay.
Sandra?
I mean, up front, we give them the £300,000 and then they pluck a figure out of a hat and give us a bit back because they didn't do as well as they should have done. That's no way to run a business.
No, definitely
It
not.
should be a bit.
Unless you're running the business.
It'll be a bit more nuanced about what they're spending on, what shouldn't it really?
Yeah.
Right, then can we agree the recommendation as it stands for a new memorandum of understanding agreement for operation June 2025-26, which in principle will see the withdrawal of the planned enhanced grass burning provision and more concentration on weed spraying control that previously, along with other announcements, were identified. The board to work with NCC along these lines and report back to the next environmental committee. Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
I don't think so, Chair.
Sorry?
I don't think so. I don't think we have enough information to agree a memorandum of understanding at this early stage. I haven't had any information back from our, who really should be our contractor, but not where their contractor. I think just completely right. The information isn't.
Will you minute that, please? Because that is very often.
Grant
Thanks,
is,
Grant.
that's right.
Yeah.
Change that bit then, so that we're not agreeing that, but we're agreeing some of it, because I feel like we're gonna be here all night, so I'm
I
gonna.
know.
I feel like we're all on the same page, we all want to know how much it's gonna cost, we all want to know what the breakdown is, we all want to know how we can move forward with whether we'll go some private contractors, some not, and we just need to be doing that, but what we need, first
Is
of
the
all, is what
breakdown.
Jeff said, is that, or Grant said, I don't know which, that breakdown with each
Breakdown.
individual
Yeah.
thing that we're paying for currently, and I agree with what Grant's saying about
Right.
having some of our own information so that they don't come back and say, well, this is how much we're charging you for the grass cutting, but actually that's way above what it should be, or whatever. If you have your own independent people to go out as well, then
So,
you've got something to argue back with,
Right.
haven't you, and say, well.
so what we're
I think
saying then is, we don't agree with that. We want a breakdown of the costing before we move forward. Yes, is that the way it's looking? Okay, Jeff, welcome.
That's an analysis of the current, agreement.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay?
Yeah.
Right. Thank you.
Can I just make one more suggestion?
no.
It's not about this, it's just what Grant was saying about that bush shelter.
Yeah.
It's our bush shelter, so can we send somebody round and chop all that ivy off it?
So can I
It's
just
actually
come in
the corner
and
of
say,
somebody's
actually, the
garden.
corner of somebody's garden, and I visited it
Yeah.
with Will just the other week. and
Right.
It's completely overgrown from the garden, which I need to speak to housing about, and I have done with East Landreth, and I need to get back to her, because it's actually somebody who's council property, it's their garden, and it's actually smashing the windows of the bush shelter now, it's that tight that I mean.
Yeah, well, that's fine, but if it's our property, we can cut it off.
Yeah.
And hand it back. I'd like you to see you try, Jeff.
Right,
I'd
I'm
like
gonna
to see
close
you try.
this
All
meeting.
men in environmental services apparently. Don't do it.
Well,
long
we've
as it's
got a
dry.
lad here that's gonna travel back to Gateshead, come on. All these,
Yeah.
We're very
what's
much
happened to Newbiggin?
You wanna bring that to the next environment, maybe I'll vote for that, for another problem. So, Anna,
Why, seriously, why doesn't somebody just go and top it up?
And I just thought.
I'm not kidding you, I don't even know where you would start. I think it would be about £4,000 worth of work coming through